Hi everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much everybody for coming back to my channel. Thank you so much to everybody who's watching and listening right now in the podcast. Today is Wednesday, February 18, 2026. I'm here to speak about an incident that happened, and this time it happened in Florida regarding a person who pretended to be, listen to this, part of Child Protective Services just so that she can go into a daycare and try to kidnap a child, right? So that's what I'm going to speak to you guys about. Before I continue, again, I want to say thank you so much to everybody who is listening right now using Spotify. Don't forget to follow the podcast on Spotify. It helps me as a creator, and also every time I make a new episode, you will get a notification. And of course, thank you so much to everybody who is using YouTube, watching the video, or listening to the podcast on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking and sharing. It helps me as a creator, so thank you so much for that. So the crazy times that we're living in, I think since the kidnapping of Savannah Guthrie's mom, Nancy, it's been very crazy to find out how common, in my opinion, how common kidnapping is, right? Yes, yesterday I came and made my previous episode before this yesterday. I spoke about that child that almost got kidnapped leaving a supermarket in Italy. And now I'm going to speak to you guys about another kidnapping incident that happened here in the US in Florida. Like I said, it's about a person pretending to be part of, the an agency, the Child Protective Services, CPS, I think it's called, and went to a daycare to kidnap a child. Crazy times, right? I don't know what it is. It's almost like things are being brought to the surface. I think it's the reason for that is so that God is making everybody aware that this is a very common thing. Just because we don't hear so much about it, it happens so often. It's insane. Once you start researching about it, you can tell that kidnapping happens a lot, and it's very crazy. So let me read you guys this article real quick. Here it says that a Florida woman is under arrest after she allegedly imprisoned a child service employee in a bid to kidnap a 9-year-old boy from his babysitter before calling the police herself. So I wonder why she would call the police herself. So it says here Nicole Terry Thomas, 56 years old, was just arrested this past February 13, in connection with the alleged adoption attempted from a residence in Lakeline, Florida. The sheriff's office said in a statement. The investigation began when the officer responded to a police call from Thomas requesting assistance with the removal of children from a home, for the statement. So it says here, however, upon speaking with witnesses and authorities, allegedly unheard inconsistencies in her account. In an except of an arrest affidavit shared by the sheriff's office, they say that um, Thomas came to a 28-year-old Naisa Brooks residence along with the child biological mother, and said they notified the babysitter by the 9-year-old himself that someone from the Department of Children's Services and Families had come to take him. Thomas allegedly identified herself as a caseworker to Brooks and claimed Brooks is the babysitter and claimed that she was there to take the child to the biological mom, when Brooks refused to comply. Thomas allegedly threatened to remove the other children in Brooks' care per the police office. Thomas then appeared to be making a call and saying on the phone that she would be working late due to finding home for all the children she was going to be removing. So, oh my goodness, this lady had a whole script so premeditated, right? Being on the phone with the police and saying, "I'm gonna have to stay later because now I gotta find home for all these children." So, complete premeditated all of this, right? And it says here that she did not present any proof of identity or identifying herself as a DCF employee. A child's biological mother has diagnosed mental disabilities. The statement claims that had met Thomas in church, and she told the police that Thomas allegedly told her she worked for the Department of Protective Services and could help her retrieve the child and get her life back on track. So they met at church. She said, "Oh, I can help you with that. I work, with this agency." And then she went along with the whole thing and actually drove to get the child at the babysitter. Thomas was charged with 4 counts of attempted kidnapping, unarmed burglary, 2 counts of criminal actions, trespassing, and misuse of the emergency phone number. The sheriff's officer, in a statement, she allegedly admitted to authorities she should have known better. Really? It's so crazy. Why are people just randomly doing crazy stuff like this? Unlike court records did not indicate a plea information for her, and she will be arraigned in March. How insane is that? How insane is that and terrifying? And I think that's people see a vulnerability, right? They see the vulnerability in somebody, and you know, they try to get advantage of that. Um, the mom, the biological mom of the child, was diagnosed with mental disabilities. Says here. And let me just go back here and tell you exactly. Um, so she actually went there to the babysitter's office with the biological mom of the child, right? And the mom has been diagnosed with mental disability, and she's not really facing any charges. I think because she has a condition, this woman that they met at church wanted to go along with her and created this whole ordeal of pretending that she worked with this agency and saying to her, promising to her maybe, oh yeah, I can get you your child back. And I think that's that's why it's so dangerous right now. Because people are doing crazy stuff like this, right? Who in their right mind would do something like this, right? Um, and not only that, but it's almost like, when you're speaking with somebody who has diagnosed mental disabilities and they're no longer able to take care of themselves, maybe, or a lot of the times they're no longer able to take care of the children, of their own children, like it happened in this case. Um, you can tell sometimes that when they speak to you, they're always like, they always want that independence, or they always want to do the things that they used to do perhaps in the past. It's almost like a person with dementia will always want to be able to just go anywhere on their own, right? They will always crave to do that. You kind of sympathize with them, but you are also very cautious because if they go on their own, they're gonna get lost and they wouldn't know where they are. With like so many of them will just wander around, right? People with dementia. Um, you sympathize with them, um, especially if you don't know like their family or who they're with. For you to just play along with it, like this lady's did, right? I'm sure she at one point knew or was warned that, yeah, this person is talking to you, all of that, and you see her at church and all of that. FYI, she suffers from a condition and she might be saying things to you that are not true. And then she still continued. That's what she said it herself, that she should have known better. She still continued to play this game. Imagine, um, the babysitter would have been like, okay, you can take the child with you. And then she said, "Here, I brought your child. You can keep your child with you now, and I'm gonna go and do my life now." People would be like, "Why was this child released to the mom? There was a reason why she didn't have him in the first place, because she was already diagnosed with mental disability and probably could not take care of the child." So it's just, I think it was so premeditated for her to pretend to be on the phone and say how she's gonna work late and all of that. It's so sad. I wonder though, this reading all of this, it makes me question like, who is the guardian of the mom, the biological mom involved here? Why this got so far to the point that she went to a stranger's office, right? I mean, not office, but she went with a stranger to the babysitter's house to retrieve the child. How did it get so far? Like, who's taking care of her, right? Who is responsible for her? Because, normally people with that type of, condition, they will have somebody with them all the time. There's a reason why they wouldn't diagnose, because they will need care. They're not able to make some decisions on their own. So I'm sure somebody is, her guardian. Why she was allowed to befriend this person, and to the point that actually went with that person to the actual babysitter house and went that far along to almost getting the child. And thank God that the babysitter was looking for identification and was smart enough to say no, that cannot happen here. So let me know, guys, what you think about this case. I wonder what's gonna come out of that. Maybe, we'll see. Yeah, it says here that she will be arraigned in March. Maybe more details will come out of this. Let me know, guys, what you think about this. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming to the channel. And thank you so much, everybody who's watching and listening to the podcast. Have a good day.